As you all know, my channel and videos are generally content centered around low carbohydrate recipes and health. But this is a story that I felt needed to be told. Now, let me caution you beforehand that unlike many cat adopts human stories, this one does not have a happily ever after conclusion. Yet it does have a moral, despite its cautionary tale, and the moral will be revealed at the conclusion of this story. But for now, let's just move forward. About 4 months ago, I noticed a cat that I thought to be a stray that was spending a lot of time in my yard. And I had seen this cat on other occasions previously, but I didn't think much about it. The cat appeared to be foraging and hunting in order to survive, or so it seemed to me. And finally, I would offer it small amounts of leftovers, which it would skitishly take and then dash away from me. But after a week or so, I gained the cat's trust. Now I could now examine the cat closer because it would let me pick it up. And I found that it was a female, but also, more importantly, I was captivated by the crystal blue eyes that the cat had. I'd never seen a cat with such eyes that looked almost human. They looked like Elizabeth Taylor's eyes. And as I said before, I discovered she was a female, and although she did the typical cat kinds of things, like rubbing against you and rubbing against your legs and so to speak, she was completely self-indulgent, and she was that way more so than most cats. You can only pet her certain ways in certain spots, and she would reposition her body so that you could get the certain spot that she wanted, and she would just keep doing that just to make sure. And she didn't like to be held, but she would decide to hop on my lap without any kind of provocation. Those antics were so bourgeois that I had nicknamed her Bougie. Now, when I noticed that she would leave within 30 minutes of eating the food that I provided for her, and although I made a comfortable bed in my shed for her, because I thought she was a stray and I was trying to adopt her, she would rarely stay there. And I surmised from that she had a home and that she was using me for additional food and attention. However, she always seemed to be on the verge of starvation and perishing from not having enough food and not having enough water. And each time that I would say that she would do this over and over, I would say that I'm not going to feed her or water her, and she's being manipulative and she's using me. I would always relent due to the pitiful crying for food that she always did, and it always occurred every single day. And I noticed that she was becoming plump around the midsection, and I figured that she may be pregnant. About 3 weeks later, she disappeared for about a week or so, and she came back looking a whole lot thinner. And I guess that either she had had some kittens, or maybe at that time she had eaten a squirrel or something and she was just digesting the squirrel. It was kind of hard to tell, but as I said, at that time she was considerably thinner. So I had considered the possibility that she had had the kittens, yet there was no evidence of that. Didn't see any kittens or anything like that. And I can say, or I should say, that we continued the same song and dance for about 3 weeks or so of her begging for food and me insisting that I was not going to be used for food, but always relenting. So one day I decided to trim away some branches that were overhanging my garage. And I got to the edge of my garage, I heard some faint meows. And after ripping away the tarp inside of my garage, I found 3 kittens living in the darkness of the roof. And they were so tiny, and in all probability, they would not have survived much longer if I hadn't discovered this. Apparently, the cat has somehow decided to have the kittens in my garage roof, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out how she did it, but that happened. And she had climbed the branches, apparently, to get there. I figured that she had been living in my garage roof for all that time, or so I thought. So why did I think that was the case, you might ask? The reason why is that I asked everyone on that block about her, and she didn't belong to anyone there. Everybody said they didn't know anything about her, like they had seen her walking through their yards, but they didn't know anything. So what I had done is I had purchased a collar and I had attached a note to the collar asking her owner to please contact me to let me know, because I was wondering about her because she was always spending a lot of time in my yard. So for 10 days, the note went untouched. So logically, one would surmise that she was in fact a stray. The kittens were riddled with fleas and I had to give them 2 flea baths. The first one had water that was crimson with blood from the fleas. And after a couple of weeks of good care, they were strong and vibrant, happy and playful and bouncing around the shed, and they looked beautiful. They looked forward to seeing me every day as they would meow incessantly when I walked through the door, and 2 of them would always come and sit in my lap without any kind of coaxing or provocation. Everything seemed great. I had 3 beautiful kittens that I was making plans for, to buy them a cat house, to get them spayed, and I had tentative names for all of them. Gigi was going to be the gray and white girl. All 3 of them were girls, I might add. Marky, the cute one with the gray spot, and Diva, the white one who was standoffish. Yes, everything seemed to be great and moving well until one Sunday morning when I went to feed them and spend time with them. I walked into the shed as usual, but there was no cute meows, only silence. The cat had decided that now the kittens were up and strong and big and bouncy, that she would now take them to wherever she actually lived. I was right before I was manipulated and used, and the irony was that she had the audacity to come back to see if there was some food to eat. I shooed her away, but later that evening she was back on my front porch as though nothing had ever happened. I then shooed her away, hopefully for good. Now, what's the moral, you might ask? The moral is to never let users or takers change your heart. Don't stop giving if your nature is to give. Just be sure that the recipient is worthy of your heart and your kindness. In time, I will get over the betrayal and I will find a cat or a dog that deserves my love. Thank you for watching, and I hope this day finds you with joy, peace, and happiness. Have a good day.